Hey, welcome to the first ever episode of Power Your Retirement. I'm Walter Storholt alongside financial advisor Steve Smit of Powerhouse Financial Advisors. And on this inaugural episode, we're just going to get to know Steve a little bit better, understand who and how Powerhouse Financial Advisors helps across the country folks prepare for retirement and their financial futures. And we'll get to know Steve a little bit along the way as well. Steve, it's great to be with you. How is life treating you, my friend?
Life is good here in Northern Nevada. It's ending, kind of winding down the summer, kicking into the fall. Things are great.
Oh, that is fantastic. So everybody gets a little bit of background on us. I'm Walter. I live in Colorado. Steve is in Nevada. We're going to join for episodes each and every week on YouTube and on all of the audio podcasting channels as well, talking about finances, retirement, and matters that are important to power workers across the United States. And Steve, this is such a neat niche that you are able to serve, and something that's very unique that you've built with Powerhouse Financial Advisors in the way that you operate. And what we really want this channel and this podcast to serve is just a resource for folks to learn a little bit more about retirement and finances. And you help shepherd people pretty much each and every day to more confident financial futures, right?
Absolutely. It's a privilege to be able to work in such a really tight niche, because even though we work with lots of different brands, a few of the original ones that I started with are in the background. And I'm able to talk with people on a different level than I would with somebody else coming into the funnel. Because if you pick the brand on the shelf, I already know all the details about their pension, 401k, retirement health, if they have it. And it's just great that we can just warm right into what's important to the employee, for sure.
Let's talk a little bit more about that as we get started here, Steve. You know, the word financial advisor is quite a broad one. Lots of people can call themselves financial advisors. So I'd like to hear how you define that. What does that mean to you? And what role do you see yourself playing in people's lives in their financial arenas?
I like to think of myself more as a guide. Financial
Okay.
advisor, there's a certain image that everyone sees, but I'm more of a guide. An employee starts at a company, maybe a utility company, and they get all these things: a cash balance pension, a 401k. They have Social Security coming. All of these things are kind of there, but they're just showing up and working every day and hoping that it all works out. And I can guide them through their retirement benefits initially, help them understand what they have, and then we work it towards that retirement plan and really how we can maximize those amazing benefits that our utility and energy company workers have.
We have financial advisors across the world who work in different capacities. Some work with pretty much anyone and everyone that they have the opportunity to. Others focus on specific groups of people, maybe focus particularly on helping women or airline pilots or some other type of niche. You've kind of chosen that niche path to build your business around. And why did you choose that path versus being more broad as a financial advisor? And naturally, why Powerhouse and why energy workers and energy companies and these relationships?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm in Northern Nevada, which is a mountainous area. Lake Tahoe might be a spot many of these viewers might have visited or been to, or maybe even live around. And I really started this before the Powerhouse system, which we haven't talked about yet, started, is helping retirees transition from being employees into retirement and making sure they were ready and have enough income and all those things that advisors do. So I was helping those folks long before in the Northern Hydro. And that's really how we started in this. And then as the industry evolved and created an opportunity for advisors to work with the employee while they're still working and not waiting until they're 60 when they're retiring to actually have that access to advice. So we were very excited when we were invited into that world to be able to make a bigger impact, because when you take on a client at 60, because a lot of these workers, that's their whole retirement is wrapped up in 30 or 40 years at the company. to have access to the resources we have, to the portfolios we have, to the strategies of how to combine all of these retirement tools, we can actually start helping people in their 50s and their 40s, in their 30s, and some we take on in their 20s. And I tell you, in their 20s is the most powerful, because not taking enough risk or putting enough in when you're young, that time value of money is amazing.
I know that's something we're going to be talking about on future episodes and getting into more of the nuances and the details on maybe
Yes.
what those different age groups face, the
Mm-hmm.
challenges that they have, the things that they need to be focusing on the most. So we'll save some of those details for future episodes. But I think it's really important to just highlight how unique this is in the financial planning world as a whole, where not everybody can get this kind of guidance and advice. And most financial advisors are not going to want to really touch someone's situation when that money is, I guess they might use the term, locked up inside of someone's 401k. And that's why they're only interested in working with folks once they get right on retirement's doorstep. You're able to come alongside folks at a much younger age and be with them for a longer period of that journey so that good habits can be established early. And that's powerful and unique at the same time.
Yes, and that's part of our core values of how we want to make an impact in the employee's life. And I don't want to minimize the impact of 60 to 90 or however many years that employer spouse get. But we really, to make the biggest impact and really change their financial future, the earlier we can start working with them, the bigger the impact that we can have. Especially if they don't work for that company for the full 30 or 40 years. If they make some kind of transition or move, then we can move with them. That's one of the really unique things that early on when we started this program, that we wanted the ability not only to help them in their 401k, to be able to track with them to new employers and new opportunities or retirement.
Excellent. Well, I want to let everybody know that this show really is going to be about you. So whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the audio podcast, most episodes are really going to be about you, the concerns that you should have in mind, tools and resources that'll help guide folks. This is not a show about me. It's not even really a show about Steve, although he's going to be our expert and the person that we turn to for guidance and advice through some of these important questions. But it's going to really be about you. That being said, Steve, it's our first episode, and I want people to get to know you a little bit. So, at least for this one episode, we're going to turn the spotlight a little bit on you as an individual, in addition to your role at Powerhouse Financial Advisors. So, I got a few questions for you just to get to know you a little bit better here. First of all, still in the financial realm, why financial advising? How did you get into it initially? What is it about the numbers and helping people plan financially that led you to choose that as a career?
Early on, before I had licenses and all of those types of things, I've always been interested in numbers. It started. I'm from Iowa. Grew up on a family farm,
Okay.
and with family farms, you have commodities. You have animals that you're buying and selling, raising. You also have crops, corn, soybeans, things of that nature. And we had a direct feed into our farmhouse, into the office there, of all the commodity things. And my dad was very busy, very, very successful. And he put me on there tracking some of these trends and prices that were coming in, and doing some research, of course, well guided in the beginning. But I just loved it. I was addicted to it. On my little Tandy 1000, I was going crazy back when I was very young. And then when we made money, then it was even better. And I got a little extra boost for that too. That was nice when you're 16 and wanting to buy a new car.
Yeah. I
Nonetheless,
got to admit, I had to Google what a Tandy 1000 was.
this was back in the early 80s when the PCs were rolling out.
We're going to put a picture of that up on the screen here, a Tandy 1000. Just I have to not be the only one who didn't know what that was.
Just a personal PC. There's no Wi-Fi. There's no internet. Basically, we're taking a satellite feed of all the information. I was putting it into Lotus 123. You might have to Google that too.
Yeah.
So that is really where the magic started. And then I went to school, took the finance classes, got all of that going. And when you graduate, you take who's offering you money. And I didn't go directly into finance,
Right.
even though I really wanted to go there. I spent 10 years working myself up in the corporate world on the corporate ladder, and then transitioned over to really what my dream and passion really was. One thing to note, it's not that I was absent really from this. I would teach classes, educate
Okay.
people. I was more of a financial coach. I wasn't managing money or recommending funds or anything like that, just
Okay.
helping people in my community, my family, my church, uh, whoever needed help. I was just passionate. I would do that in my spare time. And really, the catalyst for the whole thing is my lovely wife. And she's like, if you do this for free all weekend, why don't you just go make money doing it? Right. So that
So
was
she's the brains of
really,
the operation then, very clearly.
she is the brains of the operation. She got all the looks too. So that is really how we did this. Is I was always so passionate about it. I was doing it for free for a decade, and working outside in a different industry, and then brought it back. And really, my passion is to be that guide, to be that help. Yes, I've got lots of credentials, CFP, and a whole list of licenses. And if you're interested, I can roll out the whole thing. But really, when it comes down to it, that knowledge put to work is really where the power lives, and really making it about the client, and making sure that they make the best outcome possible for their situation.
No, it's fantastic. And great to hear that you're from Iowa. I've never met in person a bad Iowan. So I have very good opinions of people from Iowa, very good friends from Iowa over the years. So never met a bad person from Iowa. So you got a check mark next to your name just for that. Tell me a little bit more. Let's go with the personal route. Tell me just a little bit more about how do you spend your time away from all the finance stuff? What do you like to do out there in Nevada? Tell us about your family. Give us a little peek into the weekend life of Steve Smit.
Absolutely. So I have three children. I've got a daughter who's in high school, and then 2 years behind, I have got identical twin boys. So we have three
Wow.
kids total. And I already mentioned my wife, Melissa, and she is
Those kids are all
does.
going to be hitting college age at the same time, just about.
Yes, it's a good thing I'm a financial planner. Otherwise, I might have been in a lot of trouble about right now.
Yes.
But we're doing great, and my daughter's visiting all those colleges, and I think she's getting pretty close to what's going to be best for her. And
Okay.
I love that with the planning that we've done, it's not about what she has to do, it's what's going to be best for her career path and her growth. So those are fun things that I not only have done for myself, but lead other clients to give that to their kids in various ways. It doesn't have to be the traditional 529 plan.
Yeah, very cool. And what else are you doing on the weekends? Are you a hiker out there in Nevada? What's your favorite kind of activity to get into?
So what I really love is biking.
Biking. Okay.
Yes. And I've got probably road biking is my biggest passion. And out
Okay.
here, it's magnificent. You got to have some strong legs, but because it's a mountainous area, but there's some amazing roads to go down. They're not very highly traveled. You get down into Markleyville and Diamond Valley. It's just gorgeous. Rivers following roads. It's just absolutely beautiful and relaxing. And then also, I will get out on a mountain bike, and there's tons of trails around here, gravel bike or mountain, and just do that. So biking, I would say, is my passion. And if I can leak my book, that's Power Up Your 401k, but I have a
Yeah.
bunch of biking analogies in there as well.
Oh, great. So we get a little crossover, biking and power
So
analogies
if
going on in
so
the book.
if you read the book, some of that passion on the weekend comes out in the book as well.
Very cool. Well, that might be a great place to steer our attention to wrap up this first episode. You are a published author. The book Power Up Your 401k, which is pretty cool and obviously fits in with the theme of our show and still has kind of the same purposes that we're going to have here on the show of educating folks about planning for retirement and finances. And you're willing to give away copies of the book to folks who would like to read and learn more, right?
Absolutely. We want to get the information out there. So whether they work with us or they do it on their own or find someone else, we want to empower those employees to make their best outcome.
Excellent. Well, if you want to get a copy of Steve's book before the next episode comes out, learn a little bit more about him, about how he helps, and about what's important to you as you think about your financial future and retirement. All you have to do is go to powerupyour401k.com. powerupyour401k.com. We've got that linked in the description of today's show. So wherever you're watching or listening, you can find that, as well as Steve's other contact information. Get a copy of the book, learn a little bit more. Never hesitate to reach out if you've got any questions. And Steve, that's ultimately the goal of this show in future episodes, right? Educate, inform, and help people live better financial lives.
That's 100% what we're after.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to joining you each week with new episodes as we dive into important topics. And never hesitate to reach out to our viewers and listeners if you have any questions as well. Steve, we'll wrap it up there. And until next time, my friend, take care, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Walt. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you next time on Power Your Retirement. This podcast is provided by Powerhouse Financial Advisors, an independent firm with advisory services offered through Parsonex Advisory Services, Inc., PAS, a federally registered investment advisor. The information provided is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered as personalized investment advice. PAS does not guarantee the accuracy, completeness, or suitability of this information for your specific circumstances. Investment decisions should be based on an individual's goals, time horizon, and risk tolerance. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and all investments carry a degree of risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any case studies, testimonials, or endorsements shared in this podcast are illustrative of individual experiences and may not be representative of the experience of all clients. They do not guarantee future performance or success. You should not infer any level of assurance regarding future financial outcomes. Listeners should consult with a qualified financial, tax, or legal professional before making any investment decisions. Parsonex Advisory Services, Inc. does not provide tax or legal advice. Be sure to consult with your tax and legal professionals regarding your specific circumstances. For a copy of our Form ADV Part 2A, which provides additional information about PAS, including our advisory fees and services, please visit powerhousefinancialadvisors.com.